here you are, Professor Matthews, learning about movies. I've just been watching a bunch of 2020s movies that I didn't see, streaming them this week as I'm very busy in my office here watching movies. Not going out to the theater because I'm so busy, got piles of papers everywhere. So I thought I'd talk about and give you recommendations from the last 5-6 years of movies. On my Substack, I commented on the recently on the New York Times top 100 list. That was all the rage a month or two ago, I guess, and so I finally made a comment on that. But other than that, this video is about what I would recommend, actually some things that I didn't like from the last 4 or 5 years that Letterboxd users absolutely love. So if you want to, I love it, go ahead and become a channel member, subscribe to Substack, check me out on Letterboxd, I'm all over the place there. I didn't make a video this week, so this is what I've got for you, this live stream, which I am impromptu giving, and I didn't announce. I just set it up about a minute ago. That's how organized I am this week. Here's my Letterboxd diary, the last several movies I've watched. And on Wednesday nights, I'm watching just conspiracy thrillers and various things that are fun. So Panic Room a week ago. Winter Kills was a 1979 weirdo movie I absolutely hated, but it's gotten some play from RogerEbert.com. Quentin Tarantino released it as a 35mm in theaters a couple years ago. Check it out if you want to. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to hear about the 2020s movies. So let's do the first one. You can see on Letterboxd, I got all these. Mike Leigh, one of my favorites. I believe I have a video on him on this channel, I think. An English director. Now he's what, 70-something? 43. He's 80. Interesting, he's still making movies, and a couple of these movies I'm going to recommend, they are from pretty old directors who are actually doing quite good work. I've seen all of Leigh's movies. That really helped me get into this movie. Otherwise, I think it might seem a little vague, a little unsure of itself, sort of jumpy, but I know what Mike Leigh's doing, so I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. So I'm probably watching it different than whoever comes across it. It's about a black female in England, I think somewhere in Great Britain, but certainly England, I think, who is extremely crabby. One of the nastiest people on film you've seen in a while. Every interaction she has with her family and people around her, including furniture salespeople, she's very, very nasty to. Marianne Jean-Baptiste, who has worked with Leigh before, I think there she is in the photo. Oh, the poster. It plays this character named Pansy. Turns out this movie will have, she's undergone something hard, but it's not the kind of movie revelation you expect late in Act 2 or in Act 3 that's going to change the lives of these people and make them heal or get them to be better, or they recognize their hurt and their pain and then things get a little bit better after that. It's not how this movie is going to operate at all, and that will frustrate some people for sure. But I know that Leigh and his actors who conspire with him to create the movie as they go, create humanistic characters, and they want to be more honest and real than perhaps the sort of romanticized version of the characters and the story they're in, the characters they play in the story they're in. So I would recommend this as sort of a movie about hard truths, about a difficult family situation. And, you know, this is a pretty good movie, I think, for some people, for sure. Especially if you even know what I'm talking about when I say the name Mike Leigh. Other Mike Leigh movies, I made a whole list on Letterboxd, a ranked list of his movies that I like, certainly tailored to me. Okay, welcome you all who are jumping in. Thank you. You're all great for jumping in here. So as I go through this very quickly, Didi is a pretty good movie. It's on Amazon, Amazon Prime if you've got it. It does the same basic stuff that boomer nostalgia movies do. Here's my childhood several years ago to a couple decades ago. It romanticizes it somewhat. It's set in the, I think, 2008, the period where you could go onto YouTube and it was a lot of home videos. Everything was sort of sloppy and fun and slapdash back then. It's about this Taiwanese American kid who doesn't fit in, doesn't know his identity, is at war with his sister. They hate each other. Taiwanese immigrant family. His grandmother speaks Mandarin in the household, but he's out in U.S. culture in a high school that's very typical of like what you've seen in 70s, 80s, 90s high school movies. It's going to feel a lot like that sort of movie. However, I found it a little bit charming, a little bit delightful, and so I'm forgiving it of its cliches. I think this is pretty good, but I think Letterboxd users actually like this better than me. So if you're up for a high school movie that's sort of about that period of time, 2008, maybe even through today, sort of commenting on more of a diverse, non-white group of people who actually are going through very similar things to what white characters did in 60s or 80s high school movies. This is doing that very work. So I'll mention that. I think people like it somewhat on Letterboxd. Okay. Let's see, what else have I got here? Hopefully there we go. Oh, Canada. Now, I love it. I love it when Letterboxd users rag on a movie, and then I'm all for the movie. I like to be different, and very rarely I'm not, because I think the masses sort of figure out what's a pretty good movie, and we know what's not a great movie, and we sort of all know it. Of course, that does change over time, and we miss things, but Oh, Canada by Letterboxd users is this graph here. This is awful, people. How could you do this? 6 fans? I'm going to be a fan. How can I be a fan of this movie? Is that because you like it? Paul Schrader, another old guy, was in the hospital, nearly died recently. I can't remember if he had COVID or not. It was something like that. He was tweeting or posting from the hospital 2 or 3 years ago. Makes this movie based on I think Russell Banks is the novelist. And Schrader had already adapted one of his movies. It's an excellent movie called Affliction, made in the late 1990s. In fact, here's my book. I put it out a couple months ago. Go get it on Amazon. 100 of the best movies you never heard of. I have a write-up on Affliction in that. It's a very good movie with Nick Nolte. So I think this pairing of the novelist and Paul Schrader works really well. And Schrader is very filmically ambitious in this movie. A great number of shots. There's black and white cinematography and flashbacks. There's different sorts of color cinematography. There's different sorts of there's a use of a character played by Richard Gere who's dying, an old man dying. He's in Canada. He's a famous filmmaker, and he's being interviewed for a documentary. And so you see a lot of fourth wall stuff as he's being interviewed, a la Errol Morris with the Interatron, looking straight at the camera. But that character shows up in flashbacks, and Richard Gere plays himself as a 20-something-year-old man in a couple of scenes. Uma Thurman's in it too, and she's married to the Richard Gere dying man character, and she does the same thing, which is maybe like intellectually fascinating. Now, I can't explain why people don't like this movie. I think because of its interesting filmic ambitions, it's really interesting topic, which is about a man fleeing to Canada during the Vietnam War. Maybe he's evading the draft, and he becomes an elite, academic, artistic elite up in Canada, being a famous documentary filmmaker. But he's fled from his past, and like a Schrader movie, he's very guilt-ridden. He's confessing here, but in a lot of Schrader movies, it's a written confession, or a solitary man writing a diary in a room. Here you've got it via Errol Morris or documentary filmmakers with, as I said, the camera straight on him. Richard Gere is great in this, in my opinion, and I strongly recommend this to anybody who actually has liked Schrader movies ever. In fact, I think Schrader, he's one of the closest directors, modern directors, I've ever seen to Orson Welles. So my high compliment to him. And his best movie is Mishima, which does a lot of Wellesian stuff. It goes for it. I love that movie. It's on my channel, a video on it. This movie is actually getting close to that, in my opinion. And I'm not sure why. You guys can tell me why you didn't like this movie if you saw it. I found it to be introspective and not ideological, and very interesting as far as this character goes and his history of why he fled what he did. He flees his 2 wives, I think, and abandons children and sort of ignores them, forgets about them, and then he's dying, but maybe he can't remember what his past was like, so we're getting false memories. Oh, it's a very interesting movie that way. So I really, really appreciate it. I could probably rank this high. I think I like it better than First Reformed, which is Schrader's probably his best movie in, well, there's my phone. His best movie, spam, his best movie in recent years. I mean, I might go that far, but I've only seen it once. This is a movie I might need to see twice, and so I probably could give it 5 stars, but I'm not quite there. I'm not sure what it deserves. So there you go. Life of Chuck. Hated the movie myself. A lot of people love it, though. A Stephen King story, adapted by Mike Flanagan, who did Come On, Come On with Joaquin Phoenix, which I liked. Dr. Sleep. Didn't do Come On, Come On? Oh, maybe I misremembering. He did Dr. Sleep. That's all. Okay, these are the ones that he did, Mike Flanagan. I thought he did that. Never mind then. Tom Hiddleston is in the movie, but very briefly. It's a weird movie, and it knows it's weird. Sort of Shawshank-like, but not. It's about a guy who's another dying man movie. Dying white guy movie. I have my reasons for hating this or not liking it. I'm appreciative that he did this, but what comes out of the movie is like right in the middle. 5-10 minute scene of Tom Hiddleston dancing. And the movie wants to say, go live your life and enjoy your life. So, sort of those sorts of gestures. There's a lot more going on in there, obviously. The scenes where he's dancing are great, and I wish the whole movie would be that. Spontaneous, effervescent, fluid, uncertain, surprising. And the movie is not that at all. In fact, I can predict it from the beginning because it's a movie about fate and predestination and a character making a dumbass choice. It's frustrating. I should go into it, but I don't like the movie. I must say that because it's a recent movie that people have loved. In fact, I think that's doing better. Is it doing better? What? Click on this. Is on Letterboxd. Yeah, users are rating that much higher than O Canada, and I'm sorry, I just cannot comprehend that. Well, that's me and my taste and how I see things. Memoirs of a Snail. Have you heard of this movie? Depressing stop-motion Australian movie that's pretty good in some ways. This is my opening line, probably of all the movies I've watched. Memoir of a Snail gave me the feeling I need a prescription for an SSRI, antidepressant. Something that will make me feel better about life. But the movie is, I think, trying to do that. I think it signals it's trying to do that. It's pretty successful in telling the story of a girl who's separated from her brother, who goes into foster care. Stop-motion animation is quite good in this. It's reminiscent of Tim Burton. Well, actually, Henry Selick. Nightmare Before Christmas style. James and the Giant Peach style. And it has those flavors like a Tim Burton movie, too. It was much sadder and angstier and depressing. And so I feel like this movie is for some people out there, maybe you. You should check this out as a work of art, but it's a hard movie. It's rated R, which is kind of weird because it's stop motion. It's got 3 or 4 topics and maybe some blood in it that makes it rated R, but anyway, it's a pretty interesting movie. I'm just mentioning that for you to check out. Have any of you seen any of these? I'll look at the comments in a minute. I'm Still Here. This is on Netflix, but you have to get the premium subscription to Netflix. I had the ad subscription to Netflix, and it said, you can't watch this because of various international deals. And I have no idea what that means. But apparently Netflix has a elite club you pay for to get all their movies, and then the suckers club to pay, and you're paying for some of the movies, but you don't know that you're paying for some of the movies. Another reason to not like Netflix. This is a Brazilian movie set in the 1970s, I think 1970 maybe, about a political situation I don't know about and never really have studied. Probably to Americans it will seem like another Latin American, South American totalitarian dictatorship kind of thing in the 20th century. So it reminded me of the movie Missing by Costa Gavras from 1982 a little bit, even though that's set in Chile and not Brazil. This movie is really kicking butt in terms of its ratings. On Letterboxd, check it out. Look at that ratings graph. Unbelievable. If you got the movie like that, I felt like I have to see this. It turns out the movie to me is more ordinary, expected, not surprising. That graph would indicate that it would be extraordinary, surprising, somewhat novel, etc., etc. But it's not. I would think that graph would mean it's like the movie The Lives of Others about East Germany, a fantastic movie I've covered on the channel, and it would be like a Brazilian version of that, because that's what happens. Secret police, the tyrannical state whisks the husband, a former congressman, away of this wife. The story centers on her, played by Fernanda Torres, and she is also whisked off to secret prison, at least for a time, and she's got to deal with family, and then her husband's missing forever, and it's a really sad tale about the political situation there. I've seen this movie before. Now, it's a story about real life. I think it's really spot on. It's one of the most anti-state movies I think I've ever seen. If you just watch it in terms of the empathy focused on the main characters. But I'm not sure why it's that the ratings graph is that high, except that Brazilians are loving this, or people around Brazil who know situations like this are loving this movie. So I have a wonderful comment in my Letterboxd review from somebody. I'm sorry I forget your name. You did great. The comment's better than my write-up about why Brazilians really, really, really appreciate this movie. So I think that's part of the ratings graph, although I'm not entirely sure. It's pretty good overall, but not amazingly amazing. Couple more here, and then I'll be done. I think I could go through this forever, but I'll stop eventually. Count of Monte Cristo. How many times have they made this movie? 38? 100,000? Like, this must be one of the most made stories ever in cinema, I'm sure, since 1900 or 1920 or whatever. You may know several versions of it on film. This is a French version from 2024. I think late in 2024. And if you have a family, this is a pretty good movie to watch. It's a safe watch. It doesn't have much in it, maybe anything, as far as offensive things to children or families. It's very well done. It's cinematic in a sort of an epic adventure, action-adventure kind of way. Something that old Hollywood have done, like in the 1960s or 90s. This big visionary thing. It's got lots of gigantic shots of ships on water and guys escaping from prisons and all that. I like the movie. I like the main character who plays the main character. He does them through his whole life. So Edmond Dantes is screwed over when he's really young, and then he gets old and wise, and he's out for revenge. This main actor, I don't know, Pierre Nene. Sorry, I'm mispronouncing your name. He's very, very good in this. He's exactly spot on. He carried me through, as well as some of the just traditional cinematic filmmaking. I like that a lot. So I'm strongly recommending this to people like, I need a family movie this weekend. And it's like something I haven't seen before. And whatever's in the movie there's not doing it. This is it. I got it on Hoopla. If you don't know the service Hoopla, it comes through local libraries. Well, I'll click on it here. Probably won't show us much. A good service, because if you have a library card, and my small town local library has this, you can rent movies on here and it costs you nothing. I mean, it costs you through your taxes, I'm sure. So this movie is on that service. In fact, that's a good service to check out, period. If you need any of those family movie recommendations, there's many things on there, which I do actually like. I don't know if this is a 4-star movie. Like, all my ratings are, I sort of want to tweak them. So I feel like some are like low and slightly, and some are high slightly, but they're around about. 3.5 is a good score for me. It means it's pretty good. I might rewatch it. I would be happy to rewatch it. 4 is pretty good too. 4.5 is really good. So 3.5 is nothing bad for me. I did like Spike Lee's Highest to Lowest. It did help that I had seen High to Low by Kurosawa, covered that one on the channel. I justified it, although a lot of people do not like this movie for some reason. I'm not sure why. Look at that ratings graph for Highest to Lowest. It's awful. And my friends are all trashing it. I know all you people. Well, at least online I know you. And I mean, you have your reasons. I have my reasons for kind of liking it. Look, I got something out of it. I thought the filmmaking was good. Anyway, there we go. I don't have a good reason to just say I like it other than read my writing, Substack, and so on. Is there anything else I want to cover here? Anything else you see? I did like Glass Onion. So if I gave you another recommendation, it would be this movie Mass, which is probably a dangerous recommendation to give you, because now we're in we're an assassination era. There are big shootings all the time in America if you pay attention to the news, which is going to depress the heck out of you, but it always has. Um, Although there's a lot of violence and gun violence plays well in the news lately. This is a movie about that. It's about one couple, male and female, and another couple, and they meet each other in a church room, and they hash it out over what happened during a school shooting. Not a spoiler. I'm sure it's not, because I'm sure all the summaries say this. The son of one couple has killed, I think, the daughter of the other couple in the school shooting. And so they're all trying to not reconcile, but sort of come together and talk about it. And clearly the guilt and the shame and the knowledge of the event is there. I love the actors in this. I think Martha Plimpton, didn't she get an Oscar nomination for this? But they're all good. Jason Isaacs is really interesting in this. It's a one-room movie. It's a single-room movie, mostly, where four people are in a room talking. It's pretty interesting. I thought it was quite good on the school shooting. It did feel somewhat real to me and is relatable to recent events. Sadly, wish it weren't. So those are some of the recent 2020s movies. I am going through 2020s. All the movies on my watch list. Still have 50-some to go. And I'm making a list. Checking it twice. I already know who's naughty. And these, I've got a list on Letterboxd of 2020s. My plan is to release some kind of grand old video sometime, hopefully around the end of 2025, maybe around Christmas time, that tells you what I think of this decade so far, how I'd rank movies. I'm going to rethink what I've already ranked here because I'm not really sure. I'll probably tier them, which is the better thing to do. And so on and so forth. So I've made this list, and it's sort of all tentative as I'm keeping track of what I've watched. So if you're interested in this topic, which is, of course, you clicked on the link, when I said 2020s movies I recommend and hate, here's the ones I recommend or I really like myself, some of which have been forgotten already, some of which were critically acclaimed or still are, some of which probably haven't heard of. And I don't know what to make of this list as a group. I haven't thought about how any of them connect or what it all means about whatever time or place we're in. I need to think about that more. Let me look at, by the way, I have not seen one battle after another. Why? Because I'm swamped. Stacks of papers here. There they are. I can't show you what's on them. Grading, teaching, family life. One battle after another is 4 hours of commitment for me. Well, I can't quite get to it, and I'm not paid enough to do it, quite honestly. I would make like $5 an hour if I, $10 an hour, I don't know what. If I went to it, I'd have to drive there 2.5 hours, come back. So I will see it at some point. It's great. It's got a lot, or people say it's great. So we'll go see it and see what I think myself. Let's see what you say. Why are there crowns here? I have no idea what the crowns mean. Oh, the comments. I'm looking at the comments. Upgrade was a fantastic science fiction film. I thought it was okay. It's on Netflix. I keep track of science fiction films because I am really, really into that. There's still a few I need to watch from this decade. I don't think I liked it. I better not look at this, but anyway, I'm glad you mentioned it, though. Thank you. That's great. I know I ranked the 90s movies recently. I didn't say anything about Eyes Wide Shut. I didn't see about. What happened to Eyes Wide Shut? Yeah, I would love to hear my thoughts on it, too. I haven't seen it since it came out. So I probably just stuck to that impression, which I'm still, what the heck is going on here? And a lot of people have reassessed it as some kind of magical thing. There's multiple interpretations of it. I just don't know. I remember the final line and thinking about what that means as far as Kubrick's filmmaking and his point of view, if he has one, or what it could mean artistically. The final line of that movie is a fascinating and potent final line, but awful in some ways. And especially if that's the last line you ever make in your filmography, which I'm sure Kubrick wouldn't have known that was what was going to happen. So I find Eyes Wide Shut to be I don't know. I need to rewatch. You're probably right. Thanks for prompting me. You people are great. Just watched Evil Does Not Exist. Was a fairly interesting new movie. Some Rashomon quotes, kind of weird. Yeah, I was hypnotized by that movie. Evil Does Not Exist. I found it to be very good. Yeah, it's way down here, and it should be a hair up. I really have a fond impression of the movie. It has a mystical, if not downright weird and uncertain ending that is going to drive people nuts. It might be a parable or folktale in disguise. It's certainly nothing happens in it for a long time. I love the color scheme in this, the filmmaking period. Hamaguchi, who's famous for Drive My Car, or famous, I mean, that he was well received for that movie, which I thought was pretty good. I thought this next one was really, really good. But that's me, and I try to make sense out of it in my write-up for Letterboxd. I'm glad you mentioned it. It's another 2020s movie that I will make a deal of. I bought it and so on, but it's definitely not for everybody. There's no way. How about 4 favorites? Yeah, you can go ahead and put your 4 favorites there. A little bit of a Letterboxd gimmick, and now they're famous for it. It's good advertising for them for sure. You see these videos if your algorithm gives them to you on social media. So if you want to post your 4 favorites, go ahead. I always forget to change mine, so I'm always never really keeping up with it as far as the profile goes. I don't even know what I've got on there. Probably what I watched in the summer that I liked. I don't even know why I put all these there together. It just sort of came to mind at one point. But maybe I should do that for the 2020s, for sure, the birds. It's a fun little poster. So you like Ridley Scott and David Lynch. Yeah, sure. That's Sean. Yeah, you should. Okay. Evil Does Not Exist was great, so a couple people like that movie. I don't think I did a video on that. Yeah. Okay, Patrick says, speaking of sci-fi, have you ever seen Mad God? It's good for a bit until the Eraserhead baby is introduced. Yes. I watched it recently, and it's on Hoopla, or it was. So easy access to that. Mad God, is it in my diary? Yes. So I'll recommend the horror recommendations, as you asked for, Nathan. Go check out this movie out. It's almost a Kickstarter movie made by the guy. It might have been Kickstarter, crowdfunded. Made by the guy who did a lot of stuff on Empire Strikes Back and some of the Star Wars material, whose name escapes me, so I'm going to not dishonor him. I'm going to actually look him up. He did the Tauntauns, for example, in Star Wars or The Empire Strikes Back a long time ago. Phil Tippett. 40 years ago. This is the movie. It's kind of interesting poster. Starring Alex Cox? I don't remember Alex Cox being involved in this. What does that mean? Oh, wait. Maybe I'm forgetting something. Anyway, 2021. So it's a 2020s movie fitting with the stop-motion animation. It's on Hoopla. It produced it over 30 years, I think over the last 5 to 10 years, including crowdfunding. It's one of the weirder stop-motion animation movies you've ever seen. It's got a guy with a gas mask reminding me of a Fallout character, like people on the Fallout game imagery, descending into a nightmare hellscape, but it gets more complicated than that. I think this movie definitely watches as a low-budget movie. You can kind of tell what a low-budget movie is based on, are there a lot of shots where it's very close to something, so they don't have to show you the wider world, which is going to cost something and take a while to set up. They don't have wide shots of the wider world. That usually bothers me. I think it did bother me with this movie. But it's a very fascinating movie in and of itself, and there are a number of people who really like this. In fact, I probably, because a number of people in Letterboxd liked it, I probably myself found it that way. So maybe even you told me that, Patrick, and I did watch it recently. What love did I give this? 3 stars. But you can see that ratings graph. It's pretty good as far as what people think. So, but it's going to hit the right audience. It will remind you of a 1980s somewhat, which is good for me. The puppets, real things that are terrifying or horrible, like a very dark kids movie, but really more of an adult movie, I suppose. I don't know that this is even rated. So I would, if you want a horror recommendation, I'll give that to you. As a super weird movie. In the United States, get this. This is the letterbox, which shows you where you can stream it. You can get it for free on Hoopla. Cool. Other horror recommendations. I'm not much of a horror fan. I did like Barbarian. Because that was Zach Krieger stuff. If you haven't seen Barbarian, watch Barbarian. Yeah, you're challenging me because I haven't watched horror movies recently, or many. What's that one? Here's one, a special one. I think I wrote about it in my book. I think I did. You go ahead and watch this if you haven't seen it. In the Mouth of Madness, directed by John Carpenter. If you haven't seen In the Mouth of Madness, I actually like this Carpenter movie way more, or somewhat more to way more, than ones that are recommended to you. Some of the famous ones. They Live, for example. I'd rather watch this movie again. Sam Neill plays a guy who's in a reality he doesn't understand, and the movie keeps changing. I think the movie keeps changing every 5 or 6 minutes. It's sort of based on Lovecraft, as given the title there. I don't remember that it's like a better take on a Stephen King thing, even though it's not Stephen King. So I appreciate this movie quite a bit. It was a fun ride. Sam Neill is very good. Charlton Heston is in this movie. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah. I think that's my opening line of the review. I don't totally remember what I said. Yeah, I'm going to finish this and think, I wonder if Charlton Heston... You have to imagine this movie, Charlton Heston reading the script or watching this movie after you watch it and like, that guy was in this movie. Anyway, I will recommend that to you for sure. 100%. Patrick gives us a little bit more on Mad God. Thank you. Freaky Alice in Wonderland. I think that's probably a good comparison. It's like Alice in Wonderland went Fallout horror. I think. I don't know if that makes any sense. That's all for today. I got more to do. Family outings and stuff like that. So, you guys have been great. Feel free to post more comments there about whatever questions we asked. And keep watching movies and letting me know what you like. And I'll see what I can watch. And certainly we'll watch that Paul Thomas Anderson movie at some point. Although I don't know that I agree with anybody. Maybe I'll hate it. I hope I hate it, right? Just so I can be a contrarian, but I don't know if that'll happen. Maybe, maybe not. All right. Good job, guys. Thank you very much for supporting everything on this channel. See you later. Take care.